Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Alex Dworkin and I'm a managing partner at 40 Capital. Today we're going to be looking at yet another anticipated breakout, fast equity, or as we call them, super equity, which is LyondellBasell. It is a little known S&P stocks, and our work suggests that it's going to surge going forward quite a bit. If you want to skip to the analysis of that particular stock, probably skip through the half of the video, and just about there we'll begin the analysis. Until that happens, I want to do a very quick introduction of what we are, what we do, explain the extent of our mathematical work, and how we identify these fast movers. So if you are interested in that, please stick around. So once again, my name is Alex Dworkin. I'm a managing partner at 40 Capital. We specialize in a very unique set of mathematical calculations that allow us to calculate the market and individual stocks in multidimensional space. And when we do, perfect order emerges. On top of that, we've developed a number of very powerful timing tools and indicators over the last couple of years. And when we combine them both together, we can very often predict what the overall stock market or individual stocks will do. And we can typically do it on multiple time frames. Whether it's short-term or long-term, it doesn't really matter. Now, I personally believe our work is nearly identical to what Jim Simmons was able to accomplish at Renaissance Technologies. So our goal as a firm is to be able to identify stocks that will 2x, 5x, 10x, and do so within a relatively short period of time. So in essence, we're looking for the next NVIDIA, Apple, Bitcoin, Tesla. And the way we do it is very interesting. So we have this mathematical background and we've built a very powerful software around it. So our software is able to scan the entire S&P 500, and it is able to run the three-dimensional calculations on it and pick out stocks with very important bottoms that are coming up. It can be important stocks, it can be any stocks within S&P 500 or any stock out there. And what it is doing then, it is projecting, and I'll show that today while we're going to be analyzing Lionel. It is projecting from the anticipated bottom exactly what that stock is going to do going forward. And we have the capability to do that already. So what we have available to us is we have available a very clear picture of which stocks will put in a very important bottom, and then from those bottoms they will increase 2x, 5x, 10x, and that's how we're able to identify those stocks. So today we're going to be looking at LyondellBasell once again. It is a fast-moving stock, and just to very quickly explain the concept of what a fast-moving stock is. So the triangle you see at the top and bottom of the chart, this is what we call cycle composites. Okay, so this is a very simplistic representation of very complex mathematical complex mathematical concept that analyzes the market in three-dimensional space. It identifies these cycles and then projects them into the future. Okay, and what we found over the years is that, well, not what we found over the years, but basically what happens is that bottom composites are responsible for bottoms and top composites are responsible for the tops. And what makes it more complex is that there are multiple composites for the bottoms and there are multiple composites for the tops. I use Dow Jones as an example always. Sort of in Dow Jones, for example, there are two bottom composites running at the same time and two upper composites running at the same time. But if you know what they are and how to put them together, you can very closely replicate the line you see on the two-dimensional chart. Absolutely amazing. So the point I'm trying to get to is that what we found over the years is that when there's a short period of time between a major top and a major bottom, or bottom to top, doesn't really matter, of 12 months or less, it is typically at that juncture when a very powerful move to the downside or to the upside takes place. So that's typically when crashes tend to occur, when the stock market moves into the overall major top and then subsequently declines into a major cycle bottom. And it doesn't happen it happens very often for those particular setups. What I'm trying to say, it doesn't happen always, but I would say 60 to 75% of the time, that particular move, if the structure is there, will indeed develop. So the chart you see in front of you is crude light, long-term crude light chart. And as you can see here, we picked here in 2008, major cycle top, and then major cycle bottom arrived, I believe, 7 to 8 months later. And then we had a major crash between these points, okay? The same thing here, mid-cycle bottom, 2000 COVID, and then it spiked higher into mid-cycle top. So that's exactly how it works. And why I'm mentioning this to you, because our next stock that we're going to be looking at, LyondellBasell. I actually have no idea what they do, but in our work, fundamental analysis is unnecessary. Technical analysis is somewhat necessary. We've been around the block quite a bit. We know fundamental analysis very well, but for our purposes, in order to calculate time and price, it's completely unnecessary, because anybody who's been doing fundamental analysis knows very well one of the shortcomings of it is that even though you can understand what the company is doing now, perhaps make very accurate projections into the future, the stock price itself might not reflect any of that knowledge, and might not reflect any of that knowledge for a very, very long time. So we try to avoid that by concentrating on actual time price calculations that tell us exactly what that underlying equity or the overall stock market will do going forward. So I've already explained the cycle composites right here at the top and the bottom, and as you can see, it working out perfectly for this particular stock. By the way, the ticker symbol is LYB. The lines you see on the chart is our secondary timing tool, and it is called cycle clusters. Also, very complex mathematical concept, or this is a very simple representation of a very complex mathematical concept, but we have developed a number of proprietary cycles that we scan the chart, we identify where they are, and we project them into the future. But very important, what we found over the years, once again, is that typically very important turning points happen not when any particular stock or any particular cycle arrives at any given time, but when there's a multitude of cycles. So we have 2, 5, 10 cycles arriving on the same date. For example, rest assured there's going to be an important turning point, particularly if those cycles are long-term in nature. I use March of 2009 as an example. We had 15 long-term cycles arriving at that juncture within that 2 or 3 day period of time. And of course, the market put in the bottom and been increasing ever since. So what I like to say is that composites will get us into the neighborhood within 1 or 2 month margin of error, and then cycle clusters give us the exact date of an upcoming turning point. So let's jump into the stock and tell us what it, or see what it tells us. So basically, we are declining into this major cycle bottom. As you can see, the stock is reacting very well. And once this major cycle bottom arrives, it identifies September 17th of 2025. We believe that date is at the end of October, late November, based on the clusters, cycle clusters that I just discussed. Once that bottom arrives, the stock will surge higher into this major cycle top that is scheduled to arrive, much later in 2028, and then the mid-cycle top that is scheduled to arrive in August of 2026. Actually, we're looking at this date as a potential, not necessarily a potential top, but a midway top. So what it's saying is that the stock is going to bottom here and surge into this particular top that is scheduled to arrive in the second half of 2026. The dots you see are completion points that are calculated in three-dimensional space. I won't get into details very much, but I just want to show you, or the question becomes where exactly the bottom is. So let me show you yet another representation of our three-dimensional calculations, just a different point of view. So when we see the white spaces, we see now that basically is telling us that the bottom is not in, and what our calculations are projecting is the bottom around this area. Ignore the line, it's for different purposes, I'll demonstrate in a second. But basically what our work is indicating is that the company will hit into this particular green region, slightly lower or perhaps on the level of where the prior bottom was. And at that time, in October, late October, early November, the stock is going to put in the bottom and then surge. So the question becomes, where is it going to go? And I want to show you how amazing our software is and how we're able to calculate the extent of the move higher. So we already know the time turning point associated with the next stop, which is once again second half of 2026. I just showed you. So the question becomes, well, if it bottoms around this level, how far is it going to go? And let me show you. Okay, so it indicates that at the very least, so these smaller levels, we can ignore it. I know it doesn't make perhaps much sense to you, but it makes a lot of sense to us. And the stock is likely going to end up in this region, but possibly in this region. Okay, so this one is, let's say, $140 a share. So from, let's say, 50 bucks a share to 140, 150 bucks a share, that's pretty good return in my book over within a 1 year period of time. But I want you to kind of think about how powerful this information is. Our system can do this automatically. That's how we're able to essentially scan the entire S&P 500. Our system knows that the bottom is coming in. Here it can calculate exactly in time and price where it's going to be, and from that point, as it demonstrated here, it can essentially calculate, because it already knows where the next stop is going to be in time. It is able to calculate from this bottom to the next stop, and then calculate in multidimensional space where that particular top is going to be. That's what you see in terms of the green region, and that's how we're able to identify such stocks that will increase 2x, 5x, 10x going forward. Absolutely, truly amazing from my vantage point. Now, it's important to mention that we have the exact numbers associated with this proposed bottom, and we have the exact time frame associated with it. That information is available on our site. We do have a 30-day free trial associated with our service, no strings attached, no credit cards, none of that. If you would like to see the exact date and time and trading parameters for this particular stock, we do encourage you to request a free trial. Now, we also have a tremendous amount of other information there as well. We follow the overall stock market and make projections on a long-term, short-term basis. We have 52 mega cap stocks that we follow, including some of the major currencies, commodities. We have fast movers, we have super equities. Just a treasure trove of information that you can benefit from. So if you're interested in 30-day free trial, please, the link in the description of this video. Also, we have a free webinar coming up tomorrow. I believe it's midday Eastern time. And during that webinar, we talk about the math behind our work. We also showcase our software, and we do what we typically don't do, which is we talk about the overall stock market, its composition, what it's going to do going forward over the next couple of weeks, over the next couple of months, and people find that very helpful and useful. So once again, if you would be interested, the link to the registration is at the bottom of this video. And I think that's pretty much it for this week. We'll be back with more videos next week. Don't forget to subscribe. Have a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye-bye.